Hello, hello. This is Kim Ades from Frame of Mind Coaching, and you have just joined the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast. It is my great pleasure today to introduce to you one of our great clients and a friend and a gentleman who I think is on the leading edge of a lot of things, not only his business, but the way he thinks about his business, his family, his community. His name is Martin Tremblay. He's from Kelowna, originally from Montreal, and he runs a company called SPI-S. Martin, welcome.
Thank you, Kim. It's nice to be with you.
I'm so happy you're here. I want to just tell everybody the story of how I met you. You were in Kelowna at the time, and I was coming to an event to speak there. It was with a tech group at the time. And I remember the tech chair giving me a little bit of warning before the meeting. And he said, my tech group is they have very, very high standards, and don't be surprised if the people in my group don't give you such great reviews. And I thought to myself, wow, like that's a good way to boost up my confidence. I came in a little bit more nervous than I normally am, but your group was absolutely amazing, delightful. And I did my presentation, and I remember you in particular having a strong response to it. So let's start there and let's take it from there. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that meeting, and I remember how I was actually thinking when the day started. I had this concept of coaching that was not necessarily positive in my mind, because of all the people that kind of call themselves life coaches and have barely any life experiences. And I think sometimes it sounds almost like a joke. So I was kind of coming in that meeting with that mindset of like, okay, so what is it going to be about? And it quickly changed, during the meeting, obviously, and I really enjoyed that day, and kind of led me to be interested in being coach, which was the first time for me, for sure.
So you got coached with one of our senior coaches. Her name is Sherry. She's awesome. And you had a pretty good experience with her. What was it? And what did you expect and what did you experience is really the question.
Yeah, I had no idea what to expect. Really no clue, no idea. I had never done that, never sat with anybody. The main thing for me, honestly, was kind of like, I think it was the first time that I was sitting and talking about myself with someone. My life story is always about listening to people and asking questions and finding solutions. And this was kind of like 1 hour plus the journaling, obviously, but coming at that call in the week, 1 hour of like, okay, this is about me. And it was just very unusual, but it felt pretty good. So that was kind of the main thing. And then as we dig through the weeks in all kinds of areas where I had never gone, I was just kind of like discovering things and discovering new muscles that I had never worked before. So kind of open a new universe for me, for sure.
It's interesting how as business owners, leaders, as parents, we don't actually spend the time on ourselves when we have such great responsibility. It's fascinating.
I know. We'll talk a lot about exercising, taking care of our bodies, but the idea of thinking about what we think and feel, it's almost seen as being weak. And kind of like my background is more kind of like do, kind of a human doing and not a human being. And it catches up to you, I think, when you're doing and leading, but not necessarily learning how to think about your thinking and your feelings. With the years, it catches up with you, for
Yeah.
sure.
Now, I know because we've spoken before that one of the greatest impacts and maybe surprising impacts of coaching was on perhaps your relationship with your children. Can you just share a little bit about that?
Well, it happened like, I didn't think that through the coaching we were going to talk about that. I thought it was going to be very business and myself, but obviously you're talking about everything that is going on in your life. And in that season of coaching, I had one of my girl who was going through teenage years, and as much as it's tough for them in that period, I find it tough for us as parents too, to change and to relate differently with them. So that was a great season to be in coaching. Uh, would I say that yeah, I'm probably a better parent, but I still have a lot ahead of me. I mean, I'm starting again in teenage years with another one of my daughter, and I don't find it any easier than it was the first
No,
time.
well, maybe we should
I have
talk.
a few more tools, but it's still a good challenge for me as a parent for sure.
Also, every time I have 5 kids, as you know, but every time there's a new kid with a new personality, there's a whole new set of challenges at your doorstep.
Exactly, because everybody's different. It's not you learned it once and then it's over. You just repeat it the next time. No, it's totally different.
It's totally different. You have to adapt to the different
Yep.
kids in front of you.
Mhm.
Which brings us to this question. It's COVID right now. You're stuck at home. How's the family reacting and responding to this particular situation? How's the energy in the house? How are people coping?
Yeah, it's been honestly, it's been a good season. We live in probably one of the most beautiful places in Canada, so that makes it quite a lot easier. We have a lot of space in the house. The season in that part of the country is beautiful right now, and so it's been a good time as a family, and it's not as busy like most people. So we've really enjoyed each other in that season, for sure.
That's good.
And
Kelowna is absolutely one of the most beautiful places in the world. So
yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. So I feel that we're very privileged to be able to go through that season where we're at. It's I could not imagine being in you look at the news in Europe in those small apartments without a balcony. That probably would be a different story, but we have plenty of room to scatter around the house, so outside. So it's been a precious time, and our oldest daughter, who had been out of the house for a few years, has been with us, and it's been good too. So,
So one of the things that you wanted was to have your daughter coached. What was that
uh,
like for you and for her?
yeah, I mean, how would I say that? It's never necessarily been kind of like uh, a desire of mine that she would do that, but I was looking at the challenges she was navigating, and I thought that it probably could be good for her to go through this process. And for me, going through it at 44-ish, I wish I would have gone through that in my early 20s. I think that it would have been a lot easier to go through certain things in my life. So that was really kind of like giving her early start on kind of learning how to think about her thinking and feelings, and I think it helped her for sure to add tools in her toolbox in that season of her life.
And it propelled her to kind of go get kind of reacquainted with school and moved her forward in some interesting ways. She is amazing. We're nicely exposed to her. We love her. We think she's not only bright, but she has like an essence that she brings to the conversation that is beautiful. We really, really love her. Um, I want to jump ahead to your business. So lots of change lately, but you own a safety products company. Tell us about your company. What do you do? Who do you serve? How do you serve them?
Yep. So our business is called SPI Health and Safety. It's a business that started in fire protection, and then we added safety equipment through the years. So it's been around for close to 50 years. My dad started that business. We have 400 people working all over the country in 22 locations. So we mainly help customers to keep their people safe at work. So that's kind of what we do, and we've been doing for years, and we're passionate about doing that. So this current season, obviously, you've heard a lot about PPE, and PPE was not something very sexy before, but now it's like kind of the word of the hour, and
Right.
everybody sells PPEs. And well, that's what we've been doing. We serve customers mainly in the construction, mining, energy, heavy manufacturing. So everywhere where there are higher risks of accidents, that's what we do.
So has your business changed over this period due to COVID? Has demand increased? Has there been any kind of stress on your organization as a result of COVID?
For sure. I haven't met a lot of businesses that haven't changed in the last few months. We, we kind of like when March came, we were like everybody kind of navigating through that, and very quickly, the lockdown in Quebec and Ontario, what ended up is we didn't even know if we were going to be an essential business or not. We ended up being essential, but a lot of our customers were not.
Mm-hmm.
So our sales dropped dramatically
Wow.
overnight, literally dramatically. So we had to furlough quite a lot of people for a certain period of time to be able to continue over time. And if you remember in March and beginning of April, it was kind of a blizzard. Nobody knew exactly what was going on, how long it was going to last. Was it going to be way worse? So we were kind of like trying to make sure, and a lot of our employees were worried about going on site with our customers. So we had employees that didn't feel comfortable coming to work. So we had to manage that part. We have 400 people, and then manage the fact that this business needs to stay open in the long run. So it was kind of juggling these two sides in as balanced as we could, and with not having a clue what tomorrow would bring. So yeah, it was definitely a big change, but the team did an amazing job at leading this. And if you see where I'm at, I'm in Kelowna. We don't have a branch in Kelowna. The entire head office is in Montreal, or northern Montreal, Blainville. So I was not able to get there, be with the team physically. So the entire whole season, the team really led this crisis, and they did such an amazing job.
And so what was the result? Like, some people were furloughed. Are they all back now? Were some people furloughed permanently? Do you have like a part-time staff? How do you keep your team actually safe in their work environment?
We we had a lot of them furloughed for a while. I would say 2/3 of them are back at work, either part-time or full-time. We had about 95 people working from home.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are still working from home. Some of them are slowly coming back to work, either in branches or at the head office. So it's been kind of like gradual. We're trying to go one step at a time with our teams, as safe as it is for them, and also making sure that everybody's comfortable doing it. And also keeping in mind that our line of business is to help customers stay safe. So we're not selling something that is not essential. So we're all keeping that in mind as our customers need to work. And so it's been kind of like this juggling act of keeping our people safe and helping to keep our customers safe. And overall, it's been doing very well. We have very good comments from our team. Our team is very engaged, and most of the employees are very committed and still engaged, whether they're at home or not. And we still have probably 70 people that we need to like bring back to work, and we're all working to find new ways. The business is still slower, obviously, because the economy has not gone full back in swing. So we're all working to be creative to bring them as fast as possible in the business, as long as they're comfortable to do so.
So, you know, there's this big word, and it's funny that the word has kind of surfaced right now, the word pivoting, because we use that word in coaching, right? In coaching, the word pivoting means turning towards what you want, right? Like, so we're always so clear about the things that bother us, the things that annoy us, the things that we don't want. And we focus so strongly on the things that are going wrong. In coaching, we use the word pivoting to say, you know what, turn towards what you want. Remember what it is that you want. But nowadays we use the word pivoting as a business term. And we use that business term to say, hey, like, how did you adapt, you could say, to the current circumstance and turn your business in order to leverage the current situation and perhaps opportunity? Have you found yourself doing that with your business? Have you found yourself maybe going into different industries or pivoting your business in any way?
Yeah, we, once the blizzard was passed, meaning like once we had an idea that, what to do to survive and keep going in the long run, we were able to actually be a bit more creative, think about new services. So that's kind of like what we've been doing in the last few weeks. So we're testing things and new offerings so that we don't just do anything to anybody. We have a brand that there's quality behind our brand. So we don't want to take advantage of that season because we're going to be there tomorrow. There are a lot of things happening right now where there are a lot of people that are improvising themselves in that current season and calling it pivoting. We're trying to be careful about the way we pivot because we know that this season will pass. I mean, yes, things will be different after, but we don't want to hurt the brand that we have as far as quality and what we can do for our customers. But yes, we are offering new services for our customers. We're trying to listen to what they need from us and adjust and adapt with this. And we're very customer focused. So as we are getting closer to them, they actually help us to go in certain directions that would have not been there 3 months ago.
So it sounds like you're getting a lot of valuable feedback from your clients. How are you getting that information? Is that through like direct conversation? Is that through surveys? Is that through, your, let's say, frontline, I don't want to call them frontline workers, but the people who are coming face to face with them, coming back with this information? What's the best way for you to get information from your clients about what it is that they need and maybe what they will need in the near future?
Yeah, we try to be as proactive as we can with that. So we have multiple touch points where we get some kind of feedback. So people on the phone, people that are outside sales reps will proactively call certain customers and making sure every week we're in touch with them. We have obviously surveys where, every month our customers are surveyed. So there is multiple touch points where we'll grab information from our customers. In that season, we'll probably spend more time calling the partners that we have that have been with us for a long time, that trust us, and really have just a Zoom conversation, a Skype conversation with them, and everything is obviously on video conferencing at this point right now. So, but it's being proactive with them.
So as a business owner who clearly has, a fair sized team to work with, what is your recommendation for other business owners at this time to kind of ride this wave, or the blizzard as you call it, right? What is your best advice? Like, how do we handle this? Maybe how do we make sure we have enough cash flow? Like, what are your pieces of advice? How do we manage the team? How do we keep motivation and morale high? What do you think?
I don't know if I'm going to be that helpful on that one. Honestly, Kim, a lot of the advices I think are out there most of the time. It's just a matter of, are we following them before the storm comes or not? Because the problem, I find it hard to look for cash in a period like now. If I didn't take care of my cash before, it's a way harder in a season like that to look for cash. So if you look at this current season, a lot of businesses that had a harder time before, this is just amplifying this harder time before. So we kind of try to really, we have like kind of a board of advisors around our business, and people that have gone through storms before, and we try to apply a lot of their advices of, being careful with our cash and the engagement of our people, but all that in a normal season. And then when the crisis comes, it's a lot easier. So right now, we had done that. I can't say that we were always in that position. If this season would have happened a few years back, it would have been a lot harder. So we were ready to go through that storm. So once you're in the storm and you were not ready, I don't have a lot of advices for being in a storm when you're not ready. Honestly, it's probably not necessarily the easiest thing, but human beings are creative. When you get in that season, if you've built a great business, even though you were not totally ready, counting on your team, and obviously it's a team sport, so it's not going to be the owner that's going to have all the answers. It's going to be like a lot of people around that person, and then like just being creative and but it's definitely going to be like 2 or 3 times harder.
It sounds like one of the things that you're recommending, and I'm putting words in your mouth so you can correct me if I'm wrong, is really look at the resources around you, the human resources, perhaps the financial resources, the resources of past experience. Look at the resources around you and really tap into them. Like, don't shut yourself off from the people, the expertise, the money, perhaps the strategies, the technologies that are available that you wouldn't normally think about turning to. I think my experience is that a lot of entrepreneurs tend to carry the burden of responsibility independently, like on their shoulders alone, and they're not the best always at turning to specifically the human resources that are at their disposal for help and assistance and problem solving. They tend to, fix problems on their own. And I think what you're saying is tap into the resources that are right there beside you.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And another thing that, it kind of helps business owners in a season like that. And it's funny because I was talking with someone yesterday about that. A lot of business owners are entrepreneurs and kind of in their blood. So when a normal season comes and it's really kind of just managing their business, they become bored.
Complacent.
So yeah, they're kind of like way too comfortable. They're looking for other things to do, and then that's where the business starts getting in trouble. So when a season like that comes, it just wakes them up. So they become alive. They start having fun, as weird as it can be. So, and that comes and really helps them to bring that business out of that really bad situation and maximize the crisis. So, and sometimes, you know, a lot of the businesses came out of a crisis or came out of a problem. So they are able to turn these issues into all kinds of new challenges that will become positive.
New opportunities.
Yep.
Are you saying that when, as business owners, when we get to that bored place, that complacent place where we're kind of coasting, a good leadership strategy is to create perhaps a little bit of stress on the organization? And that stress, maybe artificially imposed, might lead to innovation, might lead to a higher level of growth. Rather than kind of coasting and falling, they coast and then they rise.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, in our case, you know, it happened in our business where we kind of like got to a comfortable place, and really the business started to go down for a couple of years. And recently, we really kind of used the term that Jim Collins used with the BHAG, and you know, that big, hairy, audacious goal, and really kind of mainly to keep people out of their comfort zone, starting with me and every single person in the business. So it's kind of like a positive sense of urgency that, yeah, we're doing well, and we keep doing well, but we're still like way further. We're still like, there's still a huge gap between that BHAG and where we're at. So that helps.
That's interesting. And right now, I think a lot of people are kind of in this weird place between feeling that sense of urgency and feeling a bit of a loss and not knowing what to do with themselves. So while there's this imminent urgency in the background, they're not necessarily taking urgent action because they don't know what to do. They don't know how to mobilize. And from my experience, a lot of people are just kind of waiting
Mm.
to see what happens. And, you know, it sounds like waiting isn't the greatest option. Not when things are stable and not when things are unstable. Waiting isn't a good option from your perspective.
Well, I can't say that there's any waiting on our side, you know, either for myself or for, I mean, and for a business. We're in a place where this is what we've got, you know, this is the economy we've got, this is the context we've got, and that's what we're going to have to work with, and
Yeah.
we're going to do the best we can with what
Yeah.
we have. And we are really on the phase of like, we need to look for where we're going to be bold and be proactive and not scared, just like, you know, figure it out as it goes. And you know, these days, you know, every day is a new day. I mean, one day is like a week
Yeah.
yesterday. So
It's true.
it's just a new reality, and it's there's a lot of positive things still to be thankful for, and we still have an amazing team. You know, more than 340 people that are kind of there, ready to be bold. So, no, I mean, there's no waiting. Honestly, we're more into, there's a lot of ideas that are on the table, a lot of projects that are you know, just being worked on, and we're actually taking advantage of bringing a lot of these things forward as we had a little bit more time than we had. Yeah.
That's good. So for entrepreneurs who are listening to this podcast, for maybe people who are thinking of starting a business, final words of wisdom. How do you keep your head in the game? The mindset piece. What do you recommend?
Well, you know, whatever, if you're starting a business or if you're running a business, I think this idea of, you know, kind of like, for me, like one thing that has been extremely good is about this gratefulness, you know, like kind of like focusing on all the positive things. I mean, it's been a season of just focusing on so many positive things, and my mindset, the way I feel, the way I think, the way I interact with people is not out of fear, it's out of potential. out of, you know, it's positive. It's and I think people feel that, whether it's partners, whether it's employees, whether it's your family, and it just creates confidence in a time where there's, you know, if you read the news, it's really kind of like it's negative because
Yeah.
it's just, it pays to be negative in the news. But there are other ways of looking at this season. And for me, it's been extremely positive. And is everything positive? No. I mean, there's plenty of things that don't work exactly the way I'd like them to work. But this idea of really focusing on these positive thoughts, and they are there, and that has really been helpful for me for sure.
That's amazing. I love that. I think you're 100% right. I think when we come out focusing on what's right, what's good, what is the opportunity, what we're grateful for, we do move ourselves out of a place of fear. And that gives us a lot of power to interact with the people around us in a much more positive, productive manner, leading us to much better outcomes. So that was great. Martin, thank you so much for spending this time with me. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your experiences. Thank you for taking the leap with us also to experience frame of mind coaching and being, I think, one of our strongest cheerleaders. I appreciate it. Thank you for this time with you.
Thank you, Kim.